lads and lassies. Now it's time to talk about the perfect perk combination for every weapon, because god rolls has always been a very big thing in the Destiny franchise. So in this video we're going to talk about the primary weapons, and a rule of thumb: always keep every possible combination of mythic perks. There should be 9 per weapon, keep all of them. If they're not worth now, maybe they will be for future characters. We're going to divide the god rolls into PvE and PvP, and the thing is with PvE god rolls, because the mythic perks actually increase your power level, it is a lot better to go double mythic for PvE. But for PvP we can have a little bit more fun, talk about other combinations. Every perk might be interesting. PvP I'm looking for consistency, so the perk has to proc without kill stacks or whatever. So on screen is the mythic auto rifle Sworn Oath, and that's the first weapon we're going to talk about. For PvE I'd recommend you to go either with Fraternity or Trink Leader. I personally prefer Fraternity because I think Trink Leader is way more situational. In order to get the plus 35%, all of your teammates have to have full shields, and that's almost never the case in difficult PvE content. And the great thing with Fraternity is this one actually does also proc when you're doing solo content, because then you are all of your fire team. At least that's what guys on Reddit told me. I'll trust them. In the second column we're going with Ensure Deals. This one's really great, and even if you're not getting a final blow, based on your hits you will get up to 35%. It has a lot higher damage potential than Black Body, even though Black Body can be great as well. For PvP, as I've said in the beginning, I'm looking for reliable perks, and this is why I would use Fire Rush in the first column and Time Marches On in the second one. And again, because those perks don't build up stacks or require kills or whatever. Also, Target Lock might be interesting, and High Impact Reserves. For the submachine guns we're going to start with the Wolf Pack. In PvE I'd differentiate between ad clearing and bossing, and for ad clear obviously the combination of Sinful Karma and Hyperamia is really good. Also with Hyperamia in this column having the highest damage potential. For bossing I'd choose Conjugation, if applicable, over Annihilation, because I would actually prefer a consistent plus 20% damage instead of the damage boost when the health of the target gets lower, but that's a personal preference. In the second column I would go with Glutton, even though Black Body might be more convenient because it's a lot easier to proc. I personally think that even though you're in the boss fight, there will always be ads, and you should be able to get the max damage out of the Glutton perk. For PvP, again, if applicable, Conjugation is a great perk. If not, I would go with the Annihilation perk. And the second column, as all of the mythic perks rely on stacking, I'd go with High Impact Reserves or Under Pressure, depending on what you would prefer, more damage or the weapon handling being better. For the Delphi Kulfi, for PvE, I'd go with the Fraternity in the first slot, because again I think a constant damage boost is better than one that is bound to health of the target. And also I wouldn't recommend using Surrounded, because compared to the other perks it's a lot more situational. For PvE in the second slot I'd go with Glutton again, because it has a higher damage potential than Syncopation. I actually did the math here, and again even in a boss fight you should be able to proc it. For PvP I'd go with Annihilation and Syncopation. That's where both of them really shine, because again they don't rely on stacks. Also Eager Aspirant is good, even though it has lower damage potential than Syncopation. This one depends on how consistent your aim is. And again, also High Impact Reserves might be an interesting choice. Next we're talking about the Scout Rifles, starting with the Total Lockdown. For PvE I would again differentiate between ad clear and bossing, and for ad clear I'd recommend the combination between Bullseye Rebate and Shiver, because both of them primarily rely on precision kills and they have a nice synergy with you getting reloads and also a big damage boost. And for bossing I'd go with Fraternity and the Allocation Vector, because this perk primarily relies on you landing hits, which you'll be going to do a lot when bossing, and also precision hits shouldn't be that big of a deal in PvE content. PvP I'd go with Annihilation and Explosive Payload. Then this one actually takes me back to Destiny 2 and my Time Lost Fate Keeper. High Impact Reserves might be interesting too, but Explosive Payload's probably better choice here. For the DL3 Lassie, lads and lassies. For ad clearance in PvE, we're going with the Bullseye Rebate and Slack Body. This one isn't as great as the Shiver perk, but still gets the job done. And for bossing, we're going with the Bear Approaches, which is in my opinion better than Fraternity in this case, because of the auto reload and also the synergy with the perk we're going in the second slot, which will be Syncopation. Again, this one relies on you hitting the target and has also more damage potential than Black Body. For PvP, again, we're going with the Bear Approaches and Syncopation. Also, Misfortune's Confetti might be an interesting pick here. This one really depends on your skill level. And also Target Lock and High Impact Reserves are possibilities for PvP. Next up is the hand cannon, the DEL7 Simit. Here for PvE, I would go again with Fraternity, and in the second column with Ensured Yields, as it has better damage potential than Black Body. For PvP, I would go with Voodoo Doll. This is actually a pretty interesting perk. Or you can also go with Annihilation. This one's a question of skill. I mean, if you're confident with your headshots and everything, I would go with Annihilation, but as it isn't always as easy with enemies jumping around, I think Voodoo Doll is probably best in slot for PvP. In the second slot, I'd go with Opening Shot. Again, great perk also from Destiny 2, which gives you a lot of consistency. You could also go with High Impact Reserves or Misfortune's Confetti. Now we're talking about the Pulse Rifles, starting with the DL2 Sweet Ears. Interesting name. So for PvE, we're going to again divide this into Ad Clearance and Bossing. Here I'd go for both of them in the first column with Annihilation. For Ad Clearing with Reincarnation, which has very high damage potential. Even though the duration isn't as high, the damage potential is just too good. And for Bossing, we would go with Ensured Yields again, as this one relies on you hitting the target and not killing targets. For PvP, again, I'd go with Voodoo Doll or with Annihilation. Also, Headseeker might be interesting. In the second slot for PvP, I'd go with Steady State, which has great synergy with Voodoo Doll, and also again doesn't rely on stacks and kills and whatnot. Also, Target Lock and High Impact Reserves potentially. Next, the Ultimatum. For PvE, I'd go with Fraternity and Glutton, which I'd prefer over Clepsydra, because Clepsydra resets when your magazine's empty. This one just is a bit more consistent in my opinion. For PvP, again, Conjugation if it's applicable. If not, I'd go with Annihilation. And also Steady State, again, interesting perk. In PvP, you could consider picking Clepsydra and also again Target Lock and High Impact Reserves. Next, we're taking a look at the only fusion rifle in the game. So for PvE, I'd go with Annihilation, because again, Surrounded is a bit too situational in my opinion, and with Ensured Yields, which is again better than Black Body in my opinion. For PvP, a combination of Annihilation and High Impact Reserves is probably the best. This one was actually pretty popular in Destiny 2 for fusion rifles. One could think about using Target Lock, but I think it's not so good for fusion rifles. Next, we're talking about Sidearms. For the Del 6 Kukuretsi, in the first slot for PvE, I'd go with Annihilation, and for Ad Clearing with Reincarnation, again having very high damage potential, and for Bossing with Ensured Yields as always. For PvP, Annihilation is probably the most consistent perk. Defiant Blood might be interesting, but this one relies on kills. In the second slot, I would go with either Target Slot or High Impact Reserves, as all of those mythic perks rely on stacking or reloading or whatever, and I think those are way more consistent. For the Kushinwara, also the perks on this one are so great. This one actually made me consider pulling for Gwyn. So for PvE and PvP in the first slot, I'd go with the Facilitated Agreement, because this one just sounds so good. I haven't been able to try it out yet, but damn, like getting a big damage boost whenever your power ammunition is empty. Like you can just go nuts with your power weapon and then switch to your primary. And for Ad Clearing, I'd go with All Comers Welcome, because this is a lot better than Glutton in my opinion. Just the duration of Glutton obviously is a lot better, lasting until the stage is cleared, which is why Glutton is better for bossing in my opinion. For PvP in the second column, I'd go with High Impact Reserves or Target Lock. Last but not least, the only like grenade launcher in the game. So here for PvE, I'd go with Fraternity. I mean, Sympathetic Detonation sounds interesting, but as I've experienced it until yet, most of the time when you break an enemy shield, you're going to do this with your power weapon. So that's just me. If you like the perk, you can also go with that. And in the second slot with Polyploidy, which is a great perk. Like the damage boost when you hit only one target is just insane. For PvP, I'd go with Annihilation and again Polyploidy. So that's it for the primary weapons. This one took me so much time. Thanks again for all of you guys subscribing to my channel. Really motivates me to keep going. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. And second part of the series where we're going to talk about the power weapons is coming soon. So see you in the next one.